Beezus and Ramona by Beverly Cleary. This little sister is impossible. All right, when we last left off, they were talking about tiddlywinks, so here we go. But I'll tell her you wish she'd come. That was Aunt Beatrice they're speaking of. Tell her she hasn't been here for 2 whole weeks, said Beezus. Tiddlywinks, tiddlywinks, chanted Ramona, more quietly this time. We're going to play tiddlywinks. We are not, whispered Beezus furiously, and she looked at Ramona, a terrible thought. And as she looked at Ramona, a terrible thought came to her. Right that very instant, she was so exasperated with Ramona that she did not like her at all. Not one little bit. Crashing her tricycle into the checkerboard, throwing a tantrum, and shoving a dog into the bathroom. How could one 4-year-old be such a pest all in one afternoon? And Ramona wasn't one bit sorry about it either. She was glad she had driven Henry home with her naughtiness. Just look at her, thought Beezus, cookie crumbs sticking to the front of her overalls, her hands and face dirty, and those silly paper ears. She's just awful. That's what she is. Perfectly awful. And she looks so cheerful. That just makes it worse. To look at her, you wouldn't know she'd done a thing. She spoiled my whole afternoon, and she's happy. She even thinks she'll get me to play tiddlywinks with her. Well, I won't. I won't, because I don't like her one little bit. To get away from Ramona, Beezus stalked into the living room and threw herself into her father's big chair. Not one little bit, she thought fiercely. But as Beezus sat listening to her mother chatting... It's Ramona. I know it's Beatrice, or Beezus in the chair. But as Beezus sat listening to her mother chatting and laughing over the telephone, she began to feel uncomfortable. She ought to like Ramona. Sisters always liked each other. They were supposed to, like Mother and Aunt Beatrice. But that was different, Beezus thought quickly. Aunt Beatrice wasn't like Ramona. She was Aunt Beatrice, loving and understanding and full of fun. Ramona was noisy and grubby and exasperating. I feel so mixed up, thought Beezus. Sometimes I don't like Ramona at all, and I'm supposed to like her because she's my sister, and, oh dear, even if she's little, can't she ever be more like other people's sisters? Ramona and the Apples, Chapter 4. Mother, I'm home, Beezus called as she burst into the house one afternoon after school. Mother appeared wearing her hat and coat and carrying a shopping list in her hand. She kissed Beezus. How was school today? She asked. All right. We studied about Christopher Columbus, said Beezus. Did you, dear? Said Mother absent-mindedly. I wonder if you'd mind keeping an eye on Ramona for half an hour or so while I do the marketing. She was up so late last night, I let her have a long nap this afternoon, and I wasn't able to go out until she woke up. All right, I'll look after her, agreed Beezus. I told her she could have 2 marshmallows, said Mother as she left the house. Ramona came out of the kitchen with a marshmallow in each hand. Her nose was covered with white powder. What's Christopher Columbus? She asked. Christopher Columbus, Beezus corrected. Come here, Ramona. Let me wipe off your nose. No, said Ramona, backing away. I just powdered it. Closing her eyes, Ramona pounded one of the marshmallows against her nose. Powdered sugar flew all over her face. These are my powder puffs, she explained. Beezus started to tell Ramona not to be silly. She'd get all sticky, but then decided it would be useless. Ramona never minded being sticky. Instead, she said, Christopher Columbus is the man who discovered America. He was trying to prove that the world is round. Is it? Ramona sounded puzzled. She beat the other marshmallow against her chin. Why, Ramona, don't you know the world is round? Beezus asked. Ramona shook her head and powdered her forehead with a marshmallow. Well, the world is round, just like an orange, Beezus told her. If you could start out and travel in a perfectly straight line, you would come right back where you started from. I would? Ramona looked as if she didn't understand this at all. She also looked as if she didn't care much, because she went right on powdering her face with the marshmallows. Oh well, thought Beezus, there's no use trying to explain it to her. She went into the bedroom to change from her school clothes into her play clothes. As usual, she found Ramona's doll, Bendix, lying on her bed. And with a feeling of annoyance, she tossed it across the room to Ramona's bed. When she had changed her clothes, she went into the kitchen, ate some graham crackers and peanut butter, and helped herself to 2 marshmallows. If Ramona could have two, it was only fair that she should have two also. After eating the marshmallows and licking the powdered sugar from her fingers, Beezus decided that reading about Big Steve would be the easiest way to keep Ramona from thinking up some mischief to get into while Mother was away. "Come here, Ramona," she said as she went into the living room. "I'll read it to you." There was no answer. Ramona was not there. "That's funny," thought Beezus, and went into the bedroom. The room was empty. "I wonder where she can be," said Beezus to herself. She looked in Mother and Father's room. No one was there. "Ramona," she called. No answer. "Ramona, where are you?" Still no answer. Beezus was worried. She did not think Ramona had left the house because she had not heard any doors open and close. Still, with Ramona, you never knew. Maybe she was hiding. Beezus looked under the beds. No Ramona. She looked in the bedroom closets, the hall closet, the linen closet, even the broom closet. Still no Ramona. She ran upstairs to the attic and looked behind the trunks. Then she ran downstairs to the basement. "Ramona!" she called anxiously as she peered around in the dim light. The basement was an eerie place with its gray cement walls and the grotesque white arms of the furnace reaching out in all directions. Except for a faint sound from the pilot light, everything was silent. Suddenly, the furnace lit itself with such a whoosh that Beezus, her heart pounding, turned and ran upstairs. Even though she knew it was only the furnace, she could not help being frightened. The house seemed so empty when no one answered her calls. Uneasily, Beezus sat down in the living room to try to think while she listened to the silence. She must not get panicky. Ramona couldn't be far away. And if she didn't turn up soon, she would telephone the police, the way Mother did the time Ramona got lost because she started out to find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Thinking of the rainbow reminded Beezus of her attempt to explain to Ramona that the world is round like an orange. Ramona hadn't looked as if she understood, but sometimes it was hard to tell about Ramona. Maybe she just understood the part about coming back where she started from. If Ramona set out to walk to the end of the rainbow, she could easily decide to try walking around the world. That was exactly what she must have done. The idea frightened Beezus. How would she ever find Ramona? And what would Mother say when she came home and found Ramona gone? To think of Ramona walking in a straight line, hoping to go straight around the world and come back where she started from, trying to cross busy streets alone, honked at by trucks, barked at by strange dogs, tired, hungry. But I can't just sit here, thought Beezus. I've got to do something. I'll run out and look up and down the street. She can't have gone far. At that moment, Beezus heard a noise. She thought it came from the basement, but she was not certain. Tiptoeing to the cold air intake in the hall, she bent over and listened. Sure enough, a noise so faint she could scarcely hear it came up through the furnace pipe. So the house wasn't empty after all. Just wait until she got hold of Ramona. Beezus snapped on the basement light and ran down the steps. "Ramona, come out," she ordered. "I know you're there." The only answer was a chomping sound from the corner of the basement. Dun dun dun. Is it Ramona? Is it the monster who lives in the basement? Tune in tomorrow to find out.